A woman was stranded at sea for 3 days and 3 nights due to a shipwreck. When she was in despair, she suddenly saw an island in front of her. She climbed ashore with her last strength and saved her life. But the island didn't seem to be inhabited and the weather was very hot, so she had to look around for fresh water. But after half a day's journey, she only found a mouthful of dew on a leaf. It was only enough to moisten her lips. Then she put up a cloth to protect herself from the sun and the ultraviolet rays. Then she took off her coat and wiped the beads of sweat from her body. She touched her wedding ring and thought how nice it would be to have her husband with her. As the sun set, she got up and continued on her way, hoping to find a road soon, because where there's a road, there's a human being, and at the end of the road, there's a village. In the evening, she gathered some dead branches and then a few dry leaves and piled them together in an attempt to make a campfire with flints, but she tried without success. After resting for a while, she thought of an idea and then took apart the waist cushion she was carrying and took out cotton from it and put it on the dry leaves and then rubbed it with a flint for a while, and finally the fire really did start. With the fire there seemed to be hope, which made her feel a little safer inside. The next morning she was awakened by a pain in her leg which was crawling with ants. She got up to clean them off, but her legs were eaten everywhere. She had no choice but to tear her clothes and bandage the wounds with strips of cloth. After treating the wounds, she continued on her way, but her hunger and thirst got the better of her. She tried to find some wild fruits to satisfy her hunger, but she couldn't find any on this huge island. She finally found a coconut tree, but the height of the coconuts made it impossible for her to do anything about it. She had no choice but to keep searching until evening without finding a single fruit or drop of water. Helpless, she sat on the ground and leaned against a tree to get some rest. But the darkness of the forest was terrifyingly silent, and she was afraid that a wild animal might suddenly appear. She slowly fell asleep with her fear. The next day she opened her eyes and was almost scared to death when she saw a long worm crawling on her body. She held her breath, not daring to make a sound. Luckily, it was just passing by. Once she was safe, she got up and hurried on her way, but the wound on her leg was getting worse and worse. After 2 days without food or water, her body had reached its limit and she began to stumble. When she was in despair, a white light suddenly appeared in front of her eyes, and then a man appeared in front of her. She wanted to call for help, but found she didn't even have the strength to open her mouth, and then she fell to the ground and fainted. When she woke up, she found herself lying on a bed. It turned out that a kind man had saved her and put some herbal medicine on her leg. The man said he'd take her home when she was cured. The woman thanked the man and was glad that she had survived with her strength.